would love to welcome our second lady who came for a cup of tea today. It's our Ariana. She is a registered nurse, a certified health coach. She loves helping women and moms to discover their unique health design through nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle choices. She also has a 18-month-old baby, which is with her tonight. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to hear what you have today to share with us. Hey.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, Raya. Good to see you.
Good to see you tonight. Thank you so much for connecting. Yeah. I'm so glad you could join us tonight.
Yeah, I'm so thankful to be part of this and just kind of talk about, something that I'm passionate about that God's really given me a heart for. So I'll have my helper here. She just banged her head before when I was trying to get on, and I was worried I wasn't going to get on, but you can see her little bruise. But anyway, my name's Ariana, and I'm originally from a really small town in Pennsylvania. But my husband and I are currently living in El Paso, Texas. We're stationed here with the military. My daughter is 18-month-old. She's our only baby so far, and I have the privilege of staying at home and taking care for her, which is really awesome. I've always had a love for health and fitness, and it's been really, really great that Raya's reached out, and we've kind of built a relationship just talking about our passions and what God's teaching us. So my husband and I actually met he started a CrossFit gym when we were in college. So that's how we met doing, oops, oh, it's okay. It's okay, you okay? So we met in college working out, and I went on to get a bachelor's degree in public health as well as another bachelor's degree as a registered nurse. And it was during this time at school that I really kind of did my own research in nutrition and food and just kind of developed a love for cooking. I was out of my parents' house and had my first apartment. So that's kind of what I delved into. But prior to being a stay-at-home mom to Selah, I worked as a registered nurse at the first duty station that we were stationed at, which was in a very rural hospital in Louisiana. And I worked on a floor that was full of patients that it's called medical surgical floor. So these patients had multiple disease processes. So I'd see patients with, one patient would have diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol, all those kind of things combined together. And it was through this work that God really began to grow in me this passion for health and stewarding our physical bodies. Let me close the door a second. Sorry, we have chickens and they're very loud sometimes. So like I said, when I was working at this hospital, this is when God really kind of started developing this idea of stewarding our physical bodies. So the thought constantly was coming into my mind that the illnesses that these people were dealing with were preventable through diet and lifestyle changes. And I really started getting frustrated just because I felt like there was no real care for actual healing going on in the healthcare industry. I watched my patients get sicker and sicker. All the doctors kind of did was really prescribe another medication and never targeted the root issue that was going on. And I wondered why people were okay living this way. Did they not know how good they could actually feel? I think people live with these diseases so long that it just kind of becomes part of them, and they think that's all that they have, they don't have another choice. Like they are just kind of stuck in that. And as I attempted to educate my patients on just giving them very simple lifestyle changes that they could make, I would literally see them in the next week with the same thing and just kind of complaining that they didn't feel well. So I really was just struggling with what was it? What were these people lacking that would help them to be successful, basically? And this is where God began developing the principle of stewardship in my heart. And just as Raya was talking about that God gives us specific giftings and talents that we are to steward, he also gifted us with one body. We don't get another one. And this body is unique to us, and we're to steward that as well. During my time at the hospital, he brought the verse in 1 Corinthians 6. It's 1 Corinthians 6, 19 to 20. This verse over and over to me. I think Albina actually mentioned this one, but it says, "Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price, so glorify God in your body." And our bodies are a gift. I think we often think of our bodies as being only physical and kind of separating that from the spiritual. And God crafted us so uniquely. You know, he knit us together in our mother's womb. He numbered the hairs on our head. We are so unique in ourselves. And this translates into how we care for our bodies. So what works for me in my diet or how I exercise might not necessarily work for you. And, you know, as moms and women, especially now during, you know, how prominent social media is, we're constantly comparing ourselves to what we see. And these, you know, these pictures that women have themselves and just feeling like that everybody has it all put together. And instead of actually recognizing our uniqueness and encouraging each other in those areas. Hear this? But just as God's grace is a free gift to us, this doesn't give us a license to do whatever we want. Instead, God calls us to a higher standard, to be his hands and feet, you know, here on earth, and to use what he gifts us with for his glory. And our bodies are one of those gifts. So think about how much less likely you are to want to put yourself out there. So to serve and to love your neighbors if you don't feel good, or if you have a long day with your kids and you just like have no energy. Especially we know like when we don't eat well, we have just such a lack of energy, or when you work out, you have a boost of energy, you know, those endorphins are flowing. So we just have more motivation to want to serve people when we feel well. And our physical health affects our ability to really do anything else. Caring for our physical health not only will benefit you, but it's going to benefit your family, your friends, and those that God places around you. So it enables you to fulfill what he's calling you to do. And it was coming to this realization and through this passion that God has given me that I determined I didn't want to work in the healthcare industry anymore. And while I was pregnant with Selah, I actually went on to get my health coach certification through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which Raya was talking about. And I have the ability to now use my passions and giftings to work one-on-one with people to meet their personal and very unique health goals. You know, when I worked in the hospital, we were standardizing everybody's treatment. This person had this disease, we give them this pill. And that's just not how God made us. You know, we're very unique in ourselves. So I am so grateful for just an avenue to work with people and to learn about who they are and how God crafted them to help them be the healthiest, you know, person that they can be. So let's just take a minute to dive into some practical steps that we can take in our health. And there's a verse in Proverbs that says, "Where there's no vision, the people are unrestrained." So having a vision gives us energy. It sparks this motivation within us and fuels us and helps us move forward to take the necessary steps to changing something in our lives, changing something in our daily habits, basically. And I just love the practicality of this verse. If we don't have a vision for what we're moving towards and setting ourselves up for success, then it's very likely that we're going to fail in those things. So if I can give one practical step for moms to be successful in terms of their health, diet is sometimes even more important than our exercise. So in terms of your diet, you need to have a plan, or any part of your health, even exercise, caring for your children, sleep. You need to have a plan, have a vision for success in whatever your health goals are. So for example, of how I use this principle in my own life is in my meal plans for each week. Food is an area that I probably am most tempted in terms of snacking, or if there's sweets. I think a lot of moms also struggle in this area, at least from what I've seen. So I know on days when I don't plan, which is generally weekends for us, 5 o'clock rolls around. Thank you. Yeah. So 5 o'clock rolls around and I'm trying to figure out what we're going to have for dinner. I'm probably already hungry, so I'm going to go to whatever's quickest, which is probably something frozen, or we'll go out to eat somewhere, right? And where there's no vision, the people are unrestrained. So I feel like I can definitely get a little unrestrained in my food choices when I'm like at that hangry state, if you know what I mean. So a helpful solution for this in terms of my meal plan and what I do is, number one is to sit down, to pick a day of the week and sit down and make a plan. So for me, this is Sundays. I sit down and make a meal plan, and then I grocery shop on Mondays. So number one, sit down, pick a day, and make a meal plan. Write your plan out. Step 2 is choose 4 to 5 dinner meals. And I do mean dinner, and I'll explain why later. 4 to 5 dinner meals, and you can adjust these meals for your family. And this is where I just go to Pinterest. You know, it's my best friend in terms of meal plans. Over the years, I've kind of built a library of all of my meals that I like, and kind of, you know, wrap through them a couple times, or I pick something new if I find something that I like. I'm generally not like coming up with new exciting recipes. Sometimes I will, but you know, that's just, when you have babies, you just don't have time to be that creative sometimes. So step 1, pick a day, make a meal plan. Step 2, choose 4 to 5 dinner meals. Now, step 3 is to make a list of all those foods you need for those meals that week. And you need to stick to it. So this is when you go to the grocery store, stick to your meal plan, stick to those foods that are on your list. This is gonna make your grocery shopping so much quicker. And you know what they say about just sticking to the outsides of your grocery store and not really going into those middle sections is very good advice. So if you have a list of all your items that you need, you go in, you get those things, and you get out. Because we know with kids, it's a lot harder to stay in longer. So with a plan in mind, I already know what I'm going to be making that evening for dinner. I already have the groceries in my fridge, so I don't have to make an extra trip out. Say I pick a recipe and I'm like, oh, I don't have that, you know, and then I can plan accordingly to how much time I'm going to need to prep that meal during the day. So if I have something else going on, like I did today, this evening, you know, it's almost 5 o'clock here. I had to prep earlier in the day, so that way, you know, I can just get the meal ready to go. And the last step, number 4, is to make it in bulk. So this is enough for like a double portion for each of your family members. Now, if your husband or your kids, or maybe even you, like to eat a second helping, then you need to account for that in it. You really want double the amount. So, okay. All right, Ariana. So that's only dinner. You know, I make 3 meals a day, you know, breakfast, I have snacks that my kids want. Okay. So now what? So for the other meals, you want to just simplify it as much. I say dinner meals because when I'm making breakfast meals, I choose a few and I just rotate through those. And your kids won't even notice. You know, they probably eat the same things most of the time anyway, especially if they're eating like cereal every day. So these meals that I do for breakfast are kind of just a default into my mind. So I don't even have to put much thought to it. So what that looks like for us is we have eggs, oatmeal, or some type of pancakes or French toast. And pancakes and French toast are generally for the weekends, you know, like just days off. So really, you have eggs and oatmeal for breakfast. And you're probably thinking like, okay, that's super boring. Like, I'm going to get tired of eating the same things. But you got to just mix those up. So to keep it interesting, you kind of just change up your sides. So you have, with eggs, we have bacon or avocado or spinach or shredded potatoes. My daughter loves shredded potatoes, so we'll do that. And then these staples are going to just remain on your grocery list. So that way you have them each week and you don't have to think about them. You kind of just already have them on your list. They're ready to go. So you don't have to think much about breakfast. And then lunch. Lunch then is leftovers from your bulk meals, from dinner the night before, or from, you know, earlier in that week. My husband takes leftovers for his lunch every day, which is great. And it gets a little trickier if your family objects to leftovers. But then I'd say that they just kind of need to fend for themselves then, because, you know, you put a lot of time into cooking a meal each night. So put the time in that night to make bulk, make leftovers so that you have it for the week. So just to reiterate the 4 steps that I was saying: pick a day, make a plan. 2 is pick 4 or 5 meals, and then 4 or 5 dinner meals. 3 is make a grocery list and shop. And then 4 is make in bulk. So this is just one example of a simple and practical step for your day, for a vision for your day. And rather than giving you a specific food to eat or a specific recipe to make, this practical step is going to be more helpful because you're creating a discipline. And it's what you're going to stick to. Disciplines are what is going to stick. I want to provide you with tools that will help you to be successful in the long run, not a quick fix. So this is what I always felt with the doctors, giving medications to my patients, a quick fix. What we want is to get to the root of it, and what we want is long-term success. We don't want a quick fix, a quick meal to, get to that hunger pang, right? We want good, nutritious food that's going to fuel us. And as believers, not only can we set our vision for our day to reach our health goals, but we have an even greater prize awaiting us. As believers, our vision is ultimately fixed on Jesus, and he's our ultimate goal, and he's our vision. He's the prize, what Paul says, he's the prize that we run our race for. So he gives us a purpose and something that we're moving towards. And how this works out in our day-to-day is through our stewardship. So how we steward our time, our talents, our resources. And I believe that our physical bodies are included in that resource tab. So I came to the realization during my time working at the hospital that what my patients were ultimately missing was Jesus. They didn't have something that they could fix their eyes upon, and there was no vision. God gave me a deeper understanding of the gospel in this, honestly, and our need for it through my time working as a nurse. He also showed me the urgency of sharing our passions and gifting with those that he places around us. This is exactly what stewardship is, which I was talking about. So I hope that you see your body as a gift from God and can create a vision to reach your health goals with Jesus leading the way. It's not only going to impact you, but it's going to help to serve those around you that he places. So I just love working with women and learning about what their unique goals and talents are. So thank you so much, Raya.
Thank you so much, Ariana. Thank you so much for sharing. This is amazing. I made a lot of notes.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, or anybody can feel free to reach out. I do individualized coaching, and I also can do meal plans for people as well. But I'm very open, and I can leave my contact info with Raya if anybody wants to reach out.
Yeah, you may comment in the chat with your email, or for ladies who are listening to. But I will share your information if somebody is interested.